So it's been a bit of a quiet winter, at least here on the YouTube channel. We've had a lot of really crazy big stuff going on with the business that talk about in an update video that we're going to put out in the near future. But this video is all about our friend the Oldsmobileast. Haven't posted much, A, from being so busy, but B, because we didn't really have any plans with the car. After all the big changes last year and then losing basically all of 2023 to the engine blowing up, really the goal for 2025 was to just rack up as much seat time as possible. So we're just going to run the car back, maybe make a couple small tweaks for performance, nothing that was going to be too involved or crazy, and then a couple small updates for reliability. But really the goal was just to get as much seat time as possible, make content for you guys, and continue testing and development for the various parts we're putting out under Gorman Performance Engineering. But with some of the big changes that have come along the line for the business, it's afforded us some new opportunities to take this car one step closer to its ultimate goal, which is time attack. That's something I've always wanted to do personally, and it's always what I've wanted to do with this car in the long run. I really love engineering challenges. That's why I started GPE. That's why I got into the whole pro touring muscle car movement. Was I really love the idea of taking something that has inherent design flaws and problems, and then really understanding the principles and applying, engineering ideas and testing out theories to take something like this that was never intended for road course racing, and through clever implementation and good ideas and modern engineering principles, get the performance that you want out of it. Like that gives me so much reward, and it's just such an awesome feeling. To the point where I enjoy engineering on this thing more than I do driving. And don't get me wrong, I like having fun behind the wheel. It's an awesome rush and stuff, but I really crave to be the best engineer that I can be, much more so than, trying to be the best driver possible. This is what really excites me at the end of the day. And so we've kind of been building the car in this direction. Things like 700 horsepower and the dual clutch, like those don't really help much at autocross. I mean, the power helps the car, but here in Connecticut, we have a lot of little peanut courses. We don't really have autocross courses like they have out west where you can really use that power, because we knew that ultimately this car was going to live more on road courses. Now we're still going to do autocross events, so we have the ones that we host at Lime Rock. We do 3 a year. Shameless plug for the GPE Autocross Trilogy. Link in the description in case you want to come out and race with us. But that's more of like a hybrid track cross than it is a true autocross. And even last year when we were doing the Lime Rock Lapping, which is the mini road course that we use for those autocross events, even that is a small taste of road course racing. And I just love that feedback loop of going out, turning lap after lap, having the data, the lap time in real time like we have on this car, making setup tweaks, looking at the data after events. Like, it's just so much fun doing that stuff. And so we really want to do that on a bigger level. And ultimately the way to do that is getting into things like time trials and time attack. Saying we're doing time attack racing on this with this car sounds like it's going to be this huge endeavor and we're going to have to rip the car all apart. But truth be told, we're most of the way there. Like I mentioned before, we've been incrementally building it in this direction. Now there are some updates and some tweaks we're going to have to make to the car to start getting it in the ballpark of where we want to be. Like in Grid Life, for example, will be in the track mod class, which is their second fastest class under Unlimited. And in GTA, we'll be running Unlimited. So, we're starting off pretty high up the food chain, but we're excited to take on the challenge. To get it there, even in the ballpark as a starting point, there are some updates we're gonna have to do, which we're gonna be documenting in this series. We're gonna call it the Road to Time Attack. So this is kind of the overview and intro video. And then, as we make these changes, we'll document each one as its own little video, and then we'll start filming testing and ultimately doing this racing. We want to give you guys insight into what is it like to get into time attack racing, and what is it like to shake the car down, be at the track, go through the data. We're not going to give away all of our stuff because some of it is proprietary and what we use through GPE, but kind of give you guys a peek behind the curtain of what is it like to do this, especially taking the hard way, right? It'd be a lot easier to take a modern sports car like a Corvette, basically do the same mods, and you could go faster for less money, but this is where my heart lies and this is what we want to do. And with that being said, for, I guess you could say, iteration 1 of the time attack version of this car, the really big, I guess you could say, constraint or design characteristic that we're going for is retaining the stock chassis and the stock suspension pickup points. Not just because it's a class ruling thing. Once you start cutting those up, you basically get put into Unlimited or beyond, which is, 1400 horsepower cars with crazy aero and slicks, which we're not quite there yet, maybe someday. But really, we're just curious. There are some people out there who do time attack racing with vintage cars, and there's actually a couple people who do time attack with vintage muscle cars. But I believe, at least the ones I can think of off the top of my head, all of them use either a full custom tube chassis, or they've sectioned the frame and cut off the pickup points and done basically tubular sections front and rear. None of them are using a factory suspension, and we're genuinely curious. We want to see how far you can push one of these, building it as a time attack car. With the 6872 A-body chassis, how far can that go with things like aero and a really good suspension setup, and using a modern engineering approach to the dampers, to all these different things. It's a good chance for us to showcase what our bolt-on products can do, but we're genuinely curious. We want to kind of go into this uncharted territory and see how far can you push one of these cars? How far can you go with the triangulated 4-link and the factory A-arm pickup points in the front? We could build a car that's somewhat competitive and show up and be top 5 in class, or we could be getting smoked in 10 seconds off the pace. We genuinely don't know, and that's part of what we're excited to share with you guys on this process. Is we're heading into the unknown, but we're excited to take on the challenge. So for the near future, expect more videos about the updates we're doing. We're filming this in early March. The planned start of our racing season is mid to late April. At the latest, it's going to be the spring shakedown. And I think we're on track to implement these changes and hit the ground running. I don't want to give away the changes we're making to the car in this video. You'll see as the videos come out, but it's more of a evolution than it is a revolution. We're not taking the car apart and doing all these crazy changes like we did last year. There's going to be some noticeable changes, but it's not stuff that is as involved as it may look. So those videos will be on this channel. Some of you may have noticed we've started a second channel for Gorman Performance Engineering. Moving forward, that's where things like our product highlight videos are going to be, educational videos, really the more polished and professional content. We want to keep this as the casual vlog channel, just like it always has been and it always will be. But we want to have a home for, obviously, content related to the business as the business moves forward, which we'll talk about in a separate video, probably on this channel. But just to have a home for the more polished content. This has always been more casual, and we want to have a place where we can take the, I guess you could say, more serious content and give it a home. So I'll put a link in the description. So if you're interested in seeing that stuff, learning more about the business, but also learning more about suspension design and considerations, definitely go and check that out. But yeah, this is very unexpected. We had some ambitious goals for the car and the business for 2025. I can't say I expected things to play out quite like this. I'm very, very excited to share the business updates. It's forever changes the trajectory of my life, and we're about to really do some cool stuff, and I don't want to give too much away, but you guys will see it in a video that's coming out in the very near future. So that's everything I have for you guys for now. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So if you think that, this is a cool thing, you're excited to hear about it, let us know in the comments. And if you're disappointed and you wanted this to stay more of a pro touring car, we want to hear about it in the comments too. We're genuinely curious to hear what you guys have to say. I'm someone who's always trying to push the limit and, move that benchmark higher and higher and higher. That's always how I have been. I don't think this car or any car that I build ever, will ever get to a point where I can just draw the line. I'm like, yep, I'm happy there. I'm always someone who loves tinkering and changing, as you guys have seen on this channel. And I mean, truth be told, that's never going to change. So I hope you guys are excited to follow along for the ride. I'll see you in the next one.